We should have enough time to get through all of the questions and to write down your answers for the workshop, but if not, then at least you have the PDF and you can finish it on your own. Oh, let me just get everyone in here. Oh, my video's not on. There we go. Okay. All right. So if you just came and you need the PDF, it should be in the chat. Just letting everyone in here. Okay. We are going to start with a little bit of a grounding meditation. Because the holidays can be rather like they feel kind of polarizing sometimes. As in I should, but I don't want to, or there's that and there's this, and we are kind of like fighting ourselves when it comes to this. And today we really want to come in and we want to ground ourselves before the full-on holiday season arrives. And once we arrive, we're already being pulled in all of these directions. And so we want to ground ourselves as we go into this exercise, which will ground us through the holiday season. So let me find some music here and I'll guide you through that. Okay. Go ahead and find a comfortable position. So even if you're sitting in your office chair, maybe you're in your car, maybe you're in your kitchen and you're listening to this while doing other things, you can still bring that intention and the embodiment of being in your body. So think about your feet on the floor. You're sitting in a chair. Think about your legs on the seat of the chair, your butt on the seat of the chair, your back on the back of the chair. And let your eyes soften or close if it's safe. And begin by taking a slow, steady breath in through your nose and exhale gently through your mouth. Let yourself land here on this workshop today. You're arrived. There's nowhere else you need to be right now, and just in this body, in this moment. Now imagine that your energy and your focus and your attention is spread out like little threads. Imagine the threads all spread out. Your attention, focus, your energy. And some of those threads are reaching out into the future and thinking about what needs to get done. The calendar, what's next, the meals, the messages that are waiting for you, the events coming up. And some of these threads may be caught in the past. You may be thinking about a conversation. You may be thinking about a decision. You may be thinking about something you wish had gone differently. Some of those threads are reaching out to other people, your children, your work, family, your friends, the people you care for and you hold space for. Just notice all the places that your energy might be right now. Not with judgment. Just be aware. Now, with your next few breaths, begin to gently call those threads of energy back home to you. You might imagine gathering light from each of those places. See the light on that energy thread and drawing it back to your body. Maybe into your heart, maybe into the center, maybe into your belly. As you breathe in, feel that energy coming right back to your body. Feel your energy returning. And as you exhale, feel yourself rooting down into the ground. Ground deeper into the supports of the earth beneath you. Think of your spine like the root or the trunk of a tree. And those roots are coming down out through your body and anchoring down into the ground. And they're holding you. They support you. And there's nothing that you need to do differently. You just get to be. So inhale that energy coming back to you. And exhale, being rooted into the earth. Do 5 breaths just like that. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale that root all the way down to the earth. Inhale that energy back to you. And exhale down, ground into the earth. And one more inhale. And exhale. Notice your shoulders are softening. Pull them down underneath those ears. Let your jaw soften. Let that belly expand and take up space. Now really feel how different it feels for your feet to touch the earth. You're solid, you're steady, and you're connected. Allow yourself to really rest into this feeling right now, where all of your energy is gathered, centered, and contained within your body. And this is what grounded feels like. This is where clarity is. remember that you can come back to this at any time. And from this grounded place, we're going to look at what actually fills you up, what your true desires are, what might drain you, and make some decisions about how you want to be during the next 6 weeks. Take one more breath in, fully exhale. And when you're ready, you can start to open your eyes and bring some small movement into your body. And we will start the work. As much as it would be nice to just stay in that for the rest of the session, we've got some work to do. All right, so let me pull up my worksheet here. One of the things that is important to do that I really want you to focus on during this workshop is that, yes, we're going to make intentional decisions, but we also are going to kind of debunk our own storytelling that we have around the holidays, that it's too much, there's so much to do, I don't have time, I can't do this, and falling into the authority that we have in our life and the decisions that we make, and slowly moving into a victim role of these things are just happening to me. And we want to be able to take the authority role and remember that these things are happening because I choose them. And when we shift from they're happening to me to I'm choosing XYZ, now we have the authority, we love our decisions, and we aren't staying in that victim mode. When we go into that victim mode, then our actions look like amplifying victimness. So eating more shit foods, drinking more wine, being resentful, engaging in drama, and all of those things that bring us down into a really low vibrating state. And when we're in that low vibrating state, our body just does not feel good. And it's hard to get out of it. But when we stay in the higher vibrating state, where we feel good, we have energy, we love our choices, it's easy to keep that momentum going and just like continue to make those choices. And then it's just makes things so simple. It makes things more intuitive, and you're not fighting yourself through this. So the first thing that we're going to do is I want you to list out all of your holiday events. I put January 1 on this sheet, but if you have events that go into January and they're things that would likely impact you, and then list them as well. And from there, I want you to also write or like number them so we know how many there are. The reason is because we're going to bring awareness that the amount of holiday events that you have is not significant enough to derail you. And when we put it in comparison to how many normal days we actually have during the holiday season, we're actually able to see that this is a story that I tell myself about the holiday season. It's not that I actually it's not that it's not true, right? It's a story that I tell myself. So I'm going to give you I don't think it should take more than a minute or two. Pull up your calendar if you need to look at everything. We will play a little music while you do that work, so it's not just empty noise. But go ahead and take a minute to write down everything you have and number them so we know how many. Stories to me. I think she knew the earth was moving right under me, and it was time for the moon once we have those and you know which events you have and those are listed out, the next part we're going to go to are which ones bring me joy? Which ones do you look forward to? Which ones, when you're there, you enjoy the time? So I like to remind myself, what is joy? So for me, joy feels like I have no attachment. I have no agenda to being present at this place. Doesn't mean that there's not things that would happen that would create like not the feeling of joy. It's not, doesn't have to be total bliss while you're there, but they're very nostalgic for you. You enjoy the time. You can kind of lose yourself in the environment. You feel accepted. You also feel loved, and you have that reciprocation with those in the room as well. So list the joy ones first. I'll give you a minute to do that. And then if anybody, some people are coming in late, if you need the sheets, let me know. So put it in the chat. I did put it in there, but I can't remember if when you come in, if you can still see it. I'm just gonna add it anyway. Just make it easier. Okay, joy events. And once you have your joy events written down, then we're going to move to the ones that don't give us joy. Now, I see that these are two extremes, and there could be some that live in the middle, right? So you get to decide where you put these events. But where are the events that you go out of obligation? You go out of people-pleasing behaviors. You will go to avoid some sort of discomfort, like letting people down, having people judge you, judging yourself, or like you are there are events that you hate being there the entire time. You maybe feel judged, you feel unloved, and or you also have that reciprocation behavior there. You're judging and you're not loving the environment. So go ahead and write down all of those that bring in those types of emotions. So I will give us a minute here to do that.
Drying up in the sun, did you feel your skin growing harder in the night? Did you feel the power of the waves as they rocked and guided you? Oh, don't worry, she never comes too soon. Oh, don't worry, she never comes too soon. When the moon, she rises in you. She told me the sky has stories, the stones have souls.
Okay, we're going to come back to these. So just because we declared it doesn't mean we're done. Next, we're going to move on to what foods, rituals, or traditions genuinely bring me joy or connection. And with that, what do I want to say yes to? So for this, an example would be like, what are the foods that bring you joy or are part of your tradition or a ritual that maybe you have in your family that you love to do, even though they maybe don't have nutritional value, even though they would create blood sugar stability issues, even though they might give you a little bit of a bellyache later. Which ones genuinely bring you joy and which ones do you want to say yes to? The truth is, like puppy chow and monster cookies and almond bark pretzels and my grandma's macaroon cookies and my grandma's homemade bread. Those all bring me joy. Do I necessarily want to say yes to all of them? Probably not, right? There are some that I would want to say yes to, but I probably don't actually want to say yes to all of them, especially all in one day. So it's just defining what's like a full body yes on the foods, traditions that bring me joy that I want to commit to.
It almost speak even this cold hard ground. All it takes is a little haste to me. If you let yourself be moved and be swayed by your vision found, but beyond your gaze, let go and the current will lead you home. Oh, don't worry, she never comes too soon. Oh, don't worry, she never comes too soon. Oh, don't worry, she never comes too soon.
Okay, next, how do I want to approach sugar and treats outside of traditions? So we will have like traditions at our gatherings that there will be sugar and treats and things like that. That's a separate experience. What about the day-to-day experience of that there will be sugar everywhere, that a lot of your favorite treats or things like that will be around a lot more. You'll have a lot more access to those things. How do you want to approach it on those days when it's not part of your tradition? So for me, I make monster cookies because it's my mom's recipe. My mom always made monster cookies. And that is something that I make as part of a tradition between me and my children so they can experience part of my mother during the holidays. And then I bring it to family gatherings. That being said, there's a whole lot of monster cookies in my house from when I make them to when I go to these events, which means every time I pass the freezer where they're stored, I could grab one. So do I want to grab one every time my brain thinks about it? I don't, right? Because then I would be eating monster cookies 3 times a day. So for me, how do I want to approach the sugar and the treats and the excess amount of stuff around outside of traditions? Personally, I don't want to partake at all. And that is my personal decision and that is my choice. You get to make the choice that you love. You don't have to choose an extreme choice saying no, not at all, but you do in balance of what I really want. Another way to look at this is like if you work in an office, I know that offices have a lot of sugar around. My husband eats so much junk food in the holiday season, and I'm always like, I'm like, stop eating it. Like, just because they bring it to your office does not make it like an automatic thing that you eat it. It's a conscious choice that you choose to eat these foods, right? So when I say outside of traditions, that's what that means. Bringing treats into the office is not a tradition. It's an inconvenience for the employees. I get it that these other businesses think that they're doing something wonderful, but they're not. They're just wasting their money making these employees unhealthier and having more unstable blood sugar. So outside of traditions, how do you want to approach the sugars and the treats and things like that that you have access to? Okay. And then also on that note, we want to be completely honest that we're going to have blood sugar instability during the holidays. That's not something we're necessarily going to avoid entirely, especially if we consciously choose to partake in high sugar foods and treats. And, even like Thanksgiving is it, it could be a well-balanced meal where you have your turkey, so you have your protein, you have your maybe some fiber. There's probably not very much fiber in a traditional Thanksgiving meal, but you could find some if someone brought a salad. There's plenty of fat, right? But you'll still have blood sugar instability because of the amount of carbohydrates and the denseness of the carbohydrates at that meal. So when you are feeling the effects of blood sugar instability, so feeling tired and having energy crashes, having a lot of appetite cues, right? So, like that mental drive to eat and usually eat more sugar, maybe some bloating and some abdominal discomfort with that as well. You might have some sleep disturbances. So maybe waking up in the middle of the night and kind of having a hard time getting back to sleep. All symptoms of blood sugar instability, some brain fog as well. How do you want to handle that? Because the truth is, like, you'll have a blood sugar spike and then you'll have a crash, and you get to decide what happens as your blood sugar starts to come down quickly. Tuning into your body, asking it what it actually needs right now. Could you actually drink some water and maybe put some electrolytes in it? We're not like trying to mask any hunger cues with that. We're just trying to give our body different signals of I have what you need here, and it's not actually more sugar. Because when your blood sugar starts to come down quickly, it feels emergent for your body. And so it will feel like I need to eat something. It will feel like I need to have more sugar, but it's not actually true because your body knows what to do once it reaches the bottom of the crash. So the crash, and also when I say crash, sometimes it feels really dramatic. It's not. You guys experienced this many times in your lives and you survived. So when you get to the bottom, your body actually knows exactly what to do. It goes into where your carbohydrates are already stored in your muscle, in your liver, in your fat stores, and it can pull that out and use that as energy. And now your blood sugar will go back up and will be more stable. So when your body is screaming at you during the fall down of your blood sugar, what kind of plan do you want to have in place to remind yourself that this is very normal and actually your body is very safe? And if you need help with that, put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself as well and I can help you around that. I'll give you a minute here.
When the moon she rises in you.
Okay, next part is what do I want to say no to? This is everything you consciously know right now. I don't want to do this. So, specific foods, if there are specific foods that you find yourself feeling like it's a very slippery slope for you. And it's a food that doesn't necessarily create a whole lot of joy. So I'll tell you guys a secret is that my sister makes Oreo balls every year. Everyone in my family just goes ham over these balls. Everyone loves them. They talk about them. It's like a big tradition that my sister makes Oreo balls every year. I get it. They're just not that good for me. Like, I just don't really like them. But I will never tell that to her face. And if you know my sister, don't tell her. But I'm just probably not going to have one this year because there's other things there that I actually want to have and I want to choose with purpose. And it's probably not an Oreo ball. It just doesn't do anything for me. But consuming an Oreo ball to people please, to be like, yes, I love your Oreo balls. And it's also not specific to her. It's just any Oreo ball. It's just not that great to me. Is going to just accelerate the blood sugar elevation and the blood sugar crash, right? So specific foods, I'm just not going to do it this year, right? I would rather have less of those kinds of foods, choose them more purposefully and with intention, fill up my love bucket instead, and leave those behind. People, are there certain people that you, when we go back to the events that make you feel resentful, people that make you feel like you should do something out of obligation, you do things out of people-pleasing behavior. So I'm going to do this so that I feel good about myself, and hopefully that person likes me in return. Maybe there's drama associated with some family members or some groups that you're just not interested in engaging in the drama, in talking about people, and contributing to that kind of behavior. List anything that you want to say no to, all things, events, people, food, drama, whatever it is. Consuming, you can also do like news, media, social media, anything that just kind of contributes to pulling you down into a lower vibration state during the holidays. Okay, next is outside of normal or outside of events, how do I want to eat most days? So there's not an event happening. And this is probably very obvious to you. You're like, yes, I know the things. I should listen to my hunger and fullness. I should eat for blood sugar stability. I'm either tracking my foods or I'm being mindful about, like, you know, the things. But let's just write them down and be intentional about, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. When instead of just telling ourselves in our head, this is the plan, when we take them out of our head and we put them somewhere else, like you put them in a coaching call with me, when you put them on a check-in, when you put them on this paper form that we're doing right now, you change your relationship to the thing that you are saying you're going to do in your head. You change the commitment level when you put it somewhere else. So we're going to put it right there. How do you want to eat most days? And this would also be a good time to declare, am I going to track during the holiday season? Even though, like, I don't say track on holiday days because that's just wasteful energy. But do I want to track on the days when I don't have an event? Do I want to track at all throughout the holidays? What is my intention on how I want to eat just on quote unquote normal days? And then the how many normal days do I have from now until January 1? There's actually 80 days from now until January 1. So take the number of events you have from that first exercise or from the first question, and then just subtract it from 80. So I have 6 events from now until January 1. And I've said no to a few of them, which 6 feels like a lot and a little absurd to me. But I'm consciously choosing the ones I really do want to go to. So I have 74 normal days in the holiday season. And so this just helps us really normalize our day to day, right? To actually see that the holidays don't create us to be off track. It's our perception of the on track, off track days. It's our perception of being all or nothing. It's our perception of black and white thinking. So if I actually have 74 days from now until January 1 where I get to eat just as Melissa prefers to eat and feel in her body, there's actually probably very little room for a whole lot of error on how I feel in my body day to day. So let's share a little bit in the chat. Tell me, how many normal days do you have from now until January 1? And what are your thoughts on that? $72. Good. 73 normal days, which makes me feel like the days I have things going on aren't such a big deal or something I need to dread dealing with. Yes. Very good. Okay, we will, if you're putting, continue to put your stuff in the chat. I'm just going to start moving to the next question. 72 days for Kaya. Okay, so what routines make me feel grounded? And this is my plan to stay committed. So what I mean by this is, what are the things that really just help you feel good in your body? So what are the anchors? Maybe you have anchors built in right now in your morning. Maybe you have anchors in later on in the day before bed. Maybe you have midday anchors. So what are the things that just in your normal day-to-day right now really help you feel grounded? And then what how do you plan to stay committed to grounding yourself? Actually, let's just stay with what routines make you feel grounded, because our next question is going to cover the rest of this. So what routines right now do you have that make you feel good in your body? Carrie has 60, but included days we're traveling for activities. Yeah. So Carrie, probably the story that you have is that like the next 6 weeks or 8 weeks, however many weeks it is until the new year, feel rather chaotic. And like, that's a lot, right? Because I think you travel for hockey. So it probably feels like initially going in, telling your story, that there's so much that's out of your control. But when we look at this, we're like, no, actually, what's 20 out of 80? I can't do that math. A fourth? Maybe I did that. 20 out of, yeah. A fourth. So a fourth of the time, 25% of the time between now and the new year are a little more out of your control, right? But there's still so much in your control when you're traveling and even at these things. But 75% of your time is actually within your control. And if we look at actual data on how to make changes and be consistent, that's actually the number. That's the number that is required to be a consistent person and to make progress on your goals. So even with the travel, even with the hockey, even with the holidays, it's actually so much more probable that you can still achieve what you want to achieve in your body based on that. Okay, Tabitha, I'm having a hard time determining those days because I know I have a lot of trouble, and that's what I'm worried about, being able to eat normally. So Tabitha, just do exactly what Carrie did and add in your travel in there because those are more abnormal days, even though it's going to be a little bit more skewed. So instead of thinking about extremes like completely normal at home and grounded, and another extreme over here where it's, cookies and turkey and mashed potatoes and kids everywhere and wine and all of that, like in those events, that's a little bit more extreme. We know that you're probably going to be in like mediocre to extreme while you're traveling, right? So it may not have maybe the intensity that it would on a Thanksgiving day or something like that. So just do what Carrie did and include a travel day. That also will help you feel a little bit more in control over knowing what's the percentage of time that I actually have a lot of control over. Okay, so then what routines make me feel grounded? And then what do I need to do to protect this time for myself? So think about this is the priority on how do I ensure that I have this grounding thing set in for myself. So this is the care of your nervous system. This is the care of your sleep. This is the care of this allows me to feel more centered and grounded in my body. So, what is the priority? We don't want to say the priority is 10 things because we'll lose grip of 10 things. If we can make the priority one thing, doesn't mean everything else wouldn't happen or isn't available to you, but it means that this thing is actually super important and I will move hell and high water to make sure that this thing is done for me. That makes it much more tangible. You don't lose grip on it as easily. It makes it one important thing for you during the holidays. So for me, my priority is always going to be like my morning. So my mornings help me feel calm and grounded in my body. If I have to wake up and then go do something, like if I have to get up and like leave my house, if I have to get up and take care of my kids, if I have to get up and do anything that doesn't involve my own care, I feel very like out of sorts for the rest of the day. Or if I get up and go work right away, like that's just not my thing. I have to get up. I have to do some reading. I have to sip on my coffee. I have to sit by my light. I have to do some journaling and some grounding of my nervous system because otherwise I wake up very much so either in fight or flight or I wake up and freeze. Every time, right? I'm a nervous system. Like I teach you all the things and that's how I wake up. So I have to regulate my body before I go out and start doing things. So for me, it's really making sure I have protected my morning time. Okay, next question. We have a lot of questions left for our time, so we will scoot it around here. What feels hard for me during the holidays? Like really, truly feels hard. Like this is actually going to be very hard for me to do. And then from there, once you have that answer, does this feel hard? So the hard thing, is it hard and aligned with how you want to be in your life, how you want to be in your body, right? So eating with blood sugar stability, saying no to sugar, saying no to family, right? So what is the thing that feels hard, but it supports you in the growth and the alignment of who you want to be? Or does it feel hard because it's somebody else's expectation? And it feels hard because it's an obligation, because it's a people pleasing behavior, because there's pressure to do something that doesn't actually feel in alignment with you. And when you list or when you answer what feels hard for me during the holidays, it doesn't have to be just one hard. It can be several different hards. that you can just acknowledge that these things feel really hard. And then you can move to the next question. What hard am I intentionally choosing and loving my decision? So what this means is that even though we might have things on our list that aren't in alignment with our highest self, that we do out of people-pleasing behaviors, that we do out of obligation, but we're still choosing to do them consciously, but we're choosing to do them consciously and having our back on that decision. So that means I'm going to go to this family event where I don't enjoy the people. I feel obligated to go. I feel judged when I'm there. I do this out of people-pleasing behaviors because I don't want my mother-in-law to be mad at me. This isn't true, right? I'm just making this up. I don't want my mother-in-law to be mad at me, so I'm going anyway. But I'm going because I love to support my husband and I love my decision. I love my decision to support my husband. I don't have to love everything else that goes on there, but I do get to love my decision. That allows you to move out of, I freaking hate it here. I don't want to be here. I would rather be at home. These people are judgy. These people are not my people, right? Staying in that victim low vibration state and really instead moving up and loving our decision, even though we may not love the environment. People who want to try and hold my baby. Yes, that is a big trigger during the holidays. So really deciding, Shanna, beforehand, how you want to feel when people ask to hold your baby. I want to feel certain to say no. I want to have my back. I want to have my baby's back. I know what's best for my baby. These people don't know what's best for my baby. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. They're just loving people who also love babies, because a lot of people love babies. But that doesn't mean that they get to hold your baby, right? So really loving and anchoring in your decision ahead of time to not let people hold your baby. Jenny, I ran through my count at the end of January because of engagement season, wedding, work, holiday, birthdays. We have 25 days out of that approximate 110 days. Yeah. So about the 25% to 75% for you as well. So you probably, again, felt like the upcoming season was going to take off and you were just going to have to roll with it. And there was very little control, but 75% you have control over. Good. Okay, I'm going to give you a little time to answer those few questions because that's a lot of questions. So we'll give you a couple minutes here. And actually, I'm just going to let you move on to the next page too, so we can kind of flesh these out in our time, because they all will flow into each other and don't need a whole lot of explanation. The next page is where you're making your commitment to, these are my yeses and I love my decision. These are my maybes, because sometimes we need to kind of ride emotional waves and we don't want to make an abrupt decision. Maybe we want to talk with a significant other or a family member, but you want to decide by a certain date so you can remove the attachment to that thing. And then these are my full body no's and also why I love my decision. So for Shanna, my full body no's are to not let people hold my baby. And this is why I love my decision. Versus when we go into the events and we're like telling people, no, you can't hold my baby. We start to second guess ourselves and think, well, maybe I shouldn't be so mean. Maybe it's not that bad. Or, it'll be fine, right? And that's not loving our decision. We want to really be anchored in loving our decision. We'll give you guys like 5 minutes for this.
Time that I went home, and I don't understand why I always feel dead and alone. Well, I used to shine bright like gold, now I'm all indigo.
God's trying to teach me a lesson. Lord knows I'm starting to wonder if my true colors changed since I left you.
And I used to shine bright like gold. Now I'm all in it gold. My colors are darker and cold. I think it's time that I went home. And you don't understand why I always feel dead and alone. Well, I used to shine bright like gold. Now I'm all in it gold. I'm starting to question if God's trying to teach me a lesson.
Lord knows
I'm starting to wonder if my true colors changed since I left you. And I used to shine bright like gold. Now I'm all in it gold. My colors are darker and cold. I think it's time that I went home. And I don't understand why I always feel dead and alone. I used to shine bright like gold. Now I'm all in it gold. Now I'm all in it gold.
Okay, so let's move to the last page where we kind of seal it all together. When you think about the plan that you created, what feels peaceful? What do you love about the plan that you created? And if you want, you can share it in the chat as well. I would love to know. I enjoy seeing the boundaries that I am able to set and also the comfort that it gives me that I am not just bounced around within the holiday season, but more in control than I realized. Good. Perfect. That is the goal. And then what does my body need most to stay regulated and steady? So that's just declaring again the thing that what you need to protect for yourself, what kind of routine that you really want to commit to throughout the holidays to help yourself most stay regulated and steady. And Carrie said, having a plan allows me to get in more of the things that you love. Yes. I mean, that's like so true in so many areas of the holidays. When you say no to the things that you don't actually want, whether it's sugar or people or events or things to do, you just get to create so much more space for the things that you actually love and you enjoy. This plan helps me be present and not anxious and keeps the rhythms I know are important to my well-being. Beautiful. Love it. Okay, and if you can find a sentence that helps that you can embody and remember, put in your journal or your planner, or maybe on your iPhone, like lock screen or something like that, to help you remind yourself of your intentions during the holiday. Let me give you some ideas on this. We're going to use old Chatty G for this prompt. If your core intention is presence, to remember nothing is missing in this moment. If you're questioning your decisions, remembering that my body knows when to move and when to rest. Um, I live from fullness, not from chase. I don't love that one. I live from fullness. I think that's complete. Let me put this in a different one. My energy is sacred and I choose where it flows. That's a good one. I will put it in the chat. Anyone can copy and use these. Stillness serves me just as much as action. Every no creates space for a truer yes. This is a good one. I'm not a victim to my blood sugar. I'm a participant in my energy. I trust myself to know what's enough. These are good ones. Okay, you guys can use any of those if you like, or anyone that comes to you. All right. Any questions on anything, any feedback, any clarification? Let me know. I'll give you a minute here. Okay, it doesn't sound like it. If you do, just shoot me a message. All right, guys. Next week there is breath work at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You're all enrolled for that already, so I hope to see you there. And otherwise, this is group coaching for both groups this week. So if anyway, if you're alumni, there's no coaching on Friday. This is the coaching. All right, my friends, I will see you all next week. Bye-bye.